Pinehollow was one of those towns too small to appear on most maps, yet large enough to hide secrets that were never meant to be uncovered, surrounded by dense forests in the American interior. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other by name, and nothing strange ever happened. At least, that was true until the whispers began. The first person to notice something unusual was Martha Keller, a 76-year-old woman known for talking to herself while tending her garden. But one morning, her son found her kneeling on the grass, completely still, her head tilted as if someone were whispering directly into her ear. When he tried speaking to her, she simply murmured, "They're coming." That phrase spread through the neighborhood like a cold wind. Within days, more residents reported hearing the same thing. Disembodied voices whispering their names late at night, seeming to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The town sheriff, Tom Granger, a practical man who didn't believe in ghost stories, began investigating the claims. He went door to door, taking statements, but everyone described the exact same phenomenon. The whispers drifted out of the forest, calling people by name, urging them to come to the gate. No one knew what gate they were talking about. No one could explain why the voices sounded so impossibly close, as if they were right beside you. And no one had any idea what was about to happen to their quiet little town. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Shadows. It really helps the channel grow and motivates me to bring more dark stories your way. Now, let's get back to the unsettling events. The tension in the town finally boiled over when a group of teenagers decided to explore the forest at night. 5 kids, led by a boy named Evan Parker, ventured past the tree line. They were armed with a camera and a boldness that bordered on foolishness. Their goal was simple: to prove that the entire town was just feeding into some kind of mass hysteria. But the moment they stepped into the woods, they realized something was profoundly wrong. The forest was silent, unnaturally silent. There were no crickets, no owls, not even the rustle of leaves in the wind. It was as if the entire world had stopped breathing. They walked for several minutes, the only sound being the crunch of their own footsteps on the forest floor. Then, they found it. A partially buried wooden structure, carved with strange, weathered symbols. It looked like an archway, a gateway to something ancient and forgotten. The air around it felt heavy, thick, almost alive with a strange energy. And that's when the whispers began again. At first, they were faint, nothing more than what sounded like a breeze passing between the trees. But soon, the voices grew clearer, more distinct, and much more menacing. A cold, sibilant voice seemed to echo from all around them. "We see ya." Panic erupted. The kids turned and ran, their bravado shattered, all of them except Evan. His friends heard him scream behind them, a sharp, terrified cry that was quickly cut off. But their own terror kept them from turning back. They burst out of the woods and ran straight to the sheriff's office. When they returned with Sheriff Granger, Evan appeared moments later, walking slowly out of the trees toward them as if nothing had happened. He didn't seem hurt, but his eyes were vacant, empty. He barely responded to anything they asked, repeating only one word over and over: "Awakened." No one understood what he meant, but the feeling lingering in the air was unmistakable. This was only the beginning. That night, the lights all across Pinehollow began to flicker erratically. The whispers grew louder, no longer confined to the edge of town. They drifted through walls, windows, and even began to emanate from radios that weren't even turned on. It was as if the entire town had become a speaker for something unseen, a vessel for these malevolent voices. Then, just after midnight, the unthinkable began to happen. Residents started leaving their homes one by one. They walked in a dazed, silent trance, their eyes glazed over, all heading toward the forest. Children, adults, the elderly, everyone moved in the same direction, as if pulled by invisible hands. Evan walked ahead of them, a chilling Pied Piper leading his entranced followers into the darkness. He was whispering, but it wasn't English. It was a strange, guttural language no one recognized. The sheriff tried to stop them, shouting, pleading, but it was useless. He froze in place when a whisper brushed against his own ear, clear as day, despite no one standing behind him. One by one, the people of Pinehollow disappeared into the forest. According to the few outsiders who arrived the next morning, a delivery driver, a mail carrier, the town looked as if it had been abandoned in an instant. Doors were left wide open, cars were still running in driveways, and dinners sat still warm on tables, but not a single person remained. The FBI arrived quickly, sealed the town off, and declared the entire area environmentally unsafe, blaming some sort of chemical contamination for the emergency evacuation. But no one who knew the story really believed that official explanation. It was too clean, too simple. The only real clue was Evan's camera, found on the ground near the edge of the woods. The last few minutes of footage were shaky and dark, but they showed something horrifying. They showed the people of Pinehollow walking silently, one after another, through the ancient wooden gate, and behind the archway, in the oppressive darkness, something massive was shifting. Something was breathing slowly, a deep, ancient, and patient sound. Something that had been awakened. To this day, the area around Pinehollow is fenced off and guarded by federal agents. The official story remains that it's dangerous due to chemical hazards, but locals from neighboring towns swear that, on certain nights, if you get close enough to the trees, you can still hear the whispers. They say the voices are still there, calling out names into the darkness, and sometimes, if you listen very, very closely, they say you can hear the wooden gate. Breathe. If this story sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Shadow History. It helps me a lot to continue bringing you these eerie legends and hidden mysteries. Until the next story, if the whispers allow it.